Baldur's Gate 3 has been in early access for 2 years now, since this week. And we've got many new features in the updates, but we are still missing some core features coming to the full game. So let's first start with subscribing, please. Thank you. And now the video. Okay, so the first feature that is still coming is multiclassing. If you don't know what that means, let me explain. Instead of being only one class, you can be a mix of two classes. So let's say you can be a fighter or a mix of a fighter and a ranger. Every time you level up, you can choose to level up in the same or another class. So again, if you are a level 3 fighter and you level up, you can become a level 4 fighter or a level 3 fighter plus 1 ranger level. There are some prerequisites, but I won't go too deep into it. Anyway, during a Reddit AMA back in 2020, someone asked how multiclassing will work in Baldur's Gate 3. The answer was the following. Multiclassing rules will follow closely to 5e D&D. On leveling up, characters will be able to continue with their current class or choose a new class, provided they meet their requirements. Multiclassing is not going to be available in early access at launch. We're planning to add it later. Okay, so I'm not sure if this feature will come later in early access or not, but definitely in the full game. The answer was it isn't going to be available on early access launch. So that makes me think we could still get it in early access later. And I think this will be a very important feature to playtest, because thinking about this feature also makes me think there are many potential bugs that can come up. We just have to wait and see. Another feature that is still missing is local multiplayer, but the frequently asked questions page says that it will not be immediately available on launch. This means that this feature is coming, but at a later date after the game has been released. But this is a feature I would really love to see. I've played Divinity Original Sin 2 multiple times in local multiplayer, and this is one of the best features the game has, especially with your friends who don't own the game or a good PC. And what we're also still missing are the Dragonborn and Half-Orc race and the Paladin and Monk classes. But also some subclasses for the Fighter, Rogue, Warlock, Cleric and Wizard. I've covered all of them in other videos, so if you want to know more about them, watch them after this one. I will put the links in the description. We also have some new different upcoming companions who can join your party. And I'm not sure about the exact number, but at one point I think there were still around 3 coming. One popular upcoming party member that is likely to come could be the Tiefling Karlach. And thanks to the Magic card game, we know she is a barbarian. For the other potential 2, I won't spoil it here since those are datamine spoilers. And things can change in development. You can just search it up after this video if you want to know more, but be aware for spoilers. And that's not all, because we still need to get our party members available as origin characters. Similar to Divinity Original Sin 2, all the potential party members will also be available as your starting character. So you don't have to create an unique character, because you can also start with Astarion, for example, clearing his backstory as your own protagonist. The game will have differences depending if you choose the character for your own or have them as your party member, but it's your choice after all. Personally, I like having developed characters as party members while creating my own character as the protagonist. Next up on this list is something for my favorite class in early access, the Warlock, and especially for their connection with their patron. Clerics have different dialogue options depending on the god they chose, but Warlocks can't choose a patron nor have special dialogue options for them. And also in this Reddit AMA, someone asked if Warlock Patrons have a large narrative weight in the story. And the answer was the following. Just like Cleric gods and Paladin gods, the Warlock Patron is a variable we know of and can react to. Currently they introduce dialogue options and voice barks. More is possible but not planned for the Early Access Act. This answer can have multiple meanings. He says it is not planned for Early Access. So does that mean it is planned for the full game or not planned at all? Well, he does say it is possible, so we can only hope for more. I mean, if we take a look at Will, he had such cool interactions with his patron. But it would be neat if we could at least get some more dialogue options like clerics. And now we have some different features that are unsure that are coming to the full game at all. These are options they are looking into but didn't promise to include them. The first one is difficulty options. As stated on their frequently asked questions page, it only says it won't come during early access, but they will be looking into what kind of options they can include. And these may include implementations of Perma-Death. I think it's high likely we'll get difficulty options in the full game, But again, they didn't promise anything, so keep that in mind. Another feature is the ability to play solo or with a lone wolf mode, similar to Dust 2. For those players who don't like party members and wanna play solo, lone wolf in Dust 2 meant you can play alone or only with one party member. In Dust 2 it was a feat you could choose from, and while you were very overpowered, Larian did let it stay in the game for those who wanted the option. And their answer if it could be coming to Baldur's Gate 3 was short and clear. It's a request that we get a lot, we'll look into it. And again, it sounds like it's coming, but no promises have been made. A cool feature I also hope to see is a potential DM or GM mode. Again, Dust 2 had a GM mode where you can create your own maps and campaigns. And while I really like the idea, the implementation was a bit clunky. Also, a lot of players didn't use it, but if we take a look at another game based on D&D called Solasta, they have a cool map and campaign creator. Larian's answer on this was short and clear again. There will not be a DM or GM mode in early access. But this doesn't mean it's coming to the full game, only that it won't be coming in early access for sure. So maybe later down the line as a potential update or something. Another requested feature is rolling for the stats of your character. For those who don't know what that means, it's rolling multiple dice for your ability scores and then distribute them how you like. So normally you roll 4 dices, throw away the lowest number and add them up. You do this 6 times and then set them to your ability scores. This means you can be lucky or unlucky, since one character can have very high stats and the others low. Larian's reply is only that they heard there are big fans of rolling stats out there. So this potentially means they're looking if they can include this option, but again, we just have to wait and see. The next one is changing the class of your party members. And again, this was also available in Dust 2. An example is you recruit Astarion but change him into a ranger instead of a rogue. Their answer was not at the beginning of early access, but we are planning to provide that option later down the line. And while this does sound like a confirmation, I still included this in the potential upcoming list. They said they are planning to provide this option to us. But since some characters' backstory and lore are bound to their character like Shadowheart, I doubt we get this option for all the characters, or if this idea gets scrapped on later. Like Shadowheart in her core is a cleric of Shard. That's a big part of her character, so that's why we're also not even able to change her subclass. And this also counts for Will, with his backstory with his patron, so he has to be a warlock. But maybe we'll get this option for other characters like Gale. Like, can he be all classes? Or can we only choose between a wizard or sorcerer for him or something? Because it seems to me that most companions are really bound to their class. But again, these were Larian's words and not mine. The last feature that is still missing is controller support. I forgot to include this earlier, but this is a feature Larian promised it is coming in their early access period. And I think that's smart, because it's a good thing to playtest and if needed to improve on. Early controller support was on Stadia, but since Google Stadia will be discontinued, you can't sadly play Baldur's Gate 3 there anymore. Anyway, which feature are you most excited to see in the full game? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching, subscribe for more Baldur's Gate 3 videos, and I will see you next time.